Good evening and welcome to what could possibly be the last Speedway Tavern of the year. Actually, Webby, can you take the music down, mate? Can you just turn it off because I've got some stuff I want to say. I love my Speedway, as you all know, but sometimes there are things that are more important than Speedway. I watched a video today from the Paul meeting, the Darcy Ward benefit meeting, and in it Darcy Ward is wheeled around the track to support from everybody calling out his name, and then there's an interview, and it's one of the most uncomfortable things that I've ever watched in my life. In fact, I couldn't watch it all. Very, very emotional, very, very emotional. I felt it, for me, it was a bit too voyeuristic, so I stopped watching it. But you know what, the thing that I got from this, our sport is a special sport, and the thing that makes it special are the people within it, the riders and the supporters, and we call ourselves a Speedway family, and you know, it's times like that, it's really true. There was no Darcy Ward fans and Darcy Ward detractors. There was just all of us understanding what the situation was, and all of us coming together as that Speedway family. And the next thing that I'm going to say, I say it every one of our shows, and I say it in sort of a derogatory fashion really, but I really mean it in the best possible way today. Only in Speedway.
Try to stop me, I will carry on.
Well, come straight into it then.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Then.
Ought to say congratulations to Ty Woffenden, haven't we? Twice world champion.
Yeah.
Somebody out there will correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the first time we've had a double world champion since Peter Collins?
I think he might be spot on.
I'm not sure, so I'm sure somebody out there will tell me if I'm wrong. Please do. Please do.
And we are in correspondence with a certain person who maybe we might get an interview with as well, a certain person.
Are we? Would you like
Maybe.
to elucidate?
Well, I've had a correspondence tonight from Matt who said he's in talks with Ty, so watch the space.
Right,
We might have a special show.
That would be that would be fantastic.
Great.
In which case, this won't be the last show of the year.
No, that's right. Yeah. I was trying to give you some hand signs. But,
yeah. I mean, I sorry if I'm a little bit flustered today. I've actually literally just got in the traffic. It was unbelievable.
I was getting a bit scared.
Yeah, it's taken me over an hour to get here. A journey that normally takes me 20 minutes.
I did think, am I going to have to put my whole of the Show Waddy Waddy LP on, or what?
Anyway, we've got Matt coming on the line later.
Yeah,
He's not with us, so maybe he'll be able to update us on that. We've already got some stuff on the... I think you're about to... Go on then, Joseph.
Brummy Time Lord says, Paul Cradley, who else thinks Toby
Mole?
Toby Mole should buy Cradley and use them as a feeder team for the Brummies if we go up a league?
Well, this was something I've suggested previously as well, more tongue-in-cheek, and you know, quite like winding Cradley right up. But yeah, let's.
When Cradley originally a feeder team,
they started out life as our feeder team. We had Birmingham in top division, Cradley in the next division, and Tamworth in the third division, all being owned by the Birmingham promotion, of course, of the time. Well, let's examine that as an idea.
Okay.
First of all, obviously from a Birmingham point of view, it would be great, but only, I guess, if we went into the Premier League. It wouldn't make any sense at all if we were both in the same league, both running at the same track. That wouldn't make any sense. But if we went into the Premier League and Tony brought Cradley, and then I could imagine Zach Vitanet being their number one next year and things like that, helping to train up our assets. For Birmingham, that would be fantastic. I don't imagine that Cradley fans would have the same opinion as that, though.
But isn't that just another reason to do it?
Maybe. I mean, in a way, I mean, it's almost a no-brainer, isn't it? Because Cradley have got that big support. But then would they have that big support if that was what the situation was? So nice idea. I'm not sure it would be practical, but hey ho. We got any more on the shout box? Seems to be coming alive tonight.
Just keeping it in with that. I mean, sorry, I missed the first because I was playing with my new headphones.
You look stupid in them, by the way.
Yeah. But do you mean like Cradley still staying as National League and
it's the only way it would work, isn't it?
Right, okay.
It's the only way it would work from So have we got any more?
3 more actually. Special one says it's nice to be going into the winter for once without any real concerns. The Brummy ship looks good, in good shape for 2016.
Well, I think we'll say amen to that. I mean, all the noises coming out. Don't worry, we're definitely going to be there in 2016. It feels very much as if National League is the place to be at the moment, and it seems that from the noises that are coming out, that's probably where we're going to be. But you won't know until the AGM, which has been brought forward to November, by the way. No, to October. There's actually going to be the AGM in October. That's the Premier League and Elite League one, of course. So we'll know a bit more at the end of that. But I'm on record as saying I'd like us to go up to the Premier League. But actually, another season with Zach Vitanek as our number one, that'd be quite mouth-watering, actually. So yeah,
and possibly more chance of
winning the other thing.
Anything.
But the other thing is, as Adam said last night, if we went into the Premier League, he'd be the first one to sign for us.
Right.
So there's the Adam Ellis, of course. So there's pros and cons either way. Talking of which, we've got the interviews from that Ryan Guest gave last night. He very kindly let us have them. Don't go searching from I'm not going to put them up. I'm just letting everybody know. Yep. That we'll be playing those in a couple of minutes. Some great interviews, and more bad news for Cradley in it as well.
Oh dear.
So yeah. No,
he says with a rise.
Well, yeah, but I let's just be honest about this. Cradley are our biggest rivals and the ones that we always want to beat, and that's important to have that. It's absolutely important to have that. Birmingham City wouldn't be as well supported as it is if it wasn't for Aston Villa and vice versa.
Yep.
And it's important to have that. So I hope from the bottom of my heart that Cradley sort themselves out for next year. And gosh, don't we know what that feels like?
More National League teams next year, says probably.
I think there will be. Yeah, I think there absolutely will be.
Name names.
Scunthorpe.
Right.
There's one off the top of my head. God knows what Lakeside's going to do. So there's the thing. Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers in Cradley's position, says the special one. I think. Do you know what? I think that's true for all Speedway clubs in a way. Is there any more to read out on that one, Joseph?
Yeah, special one says biggest incentive.
Biggest incentive to go Premier League is that Premier League stripe. Webby's just put it up for me. Is that the Premier League dream team? Someone posted a while back. King, Barker, Cavati, Ellis, Perry, Zach, and another. I'm not sure we could afford that.
We could have another.
I would certainly love to see Nico riding for us again. That would be, and Danny King as well. I can't see us having King, Barker, Cavati, Ellis, Perry, Zach, and another, and still coming under whatever the limit is. But it's nice thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure is.
What would be a bigger dream team for me? I've got to be honest. Is something that has never ever happened for us since 2007, and that's having a team made up mostly of our own assets.
Yes. And
that's why going to the National League is a good idea, and why perhaps keeping in the National League for another year, bringing on the likes of Jack Smith, as I am fairly confident will be signing for us next year, and JPB, as he'll forever be known on this programme because I can't remember his full name. I'm almost as certain will be riding for us next year as well. And that will obviously become our assets. So that would be a good reason for stopping in the National League for another season, and that would be my dream team, a good team of our own assets. So there you go. So You wasn't there last night. You promised me you were
wasn't
going to
there.
be there,
Well,
but didn't you?
I didn't go until 10 to 7, so it was just going to be too much of a rush.
We'll have a quick chat about last night's match, which obviously we lost by, was it 4 points in the end?
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, which weren't a bad result given we were 8 points behind at one point, I think.
43-47.
43-47, and that, by my quick maths, is 4 points.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, look, we were up against it, weren't we? Without Zach Vitanek and without Sam. And Danny Ayres only scored 5 points. I think with us being 4 points behind, we can safely say that if Zach had been there, we would have won. However, we wouldn't have won the tie. We would have won the tie, but I doubt very much that we would have won the actual cup. So it really doesn't matter. Other than it would have been nice just for once to have had our last match as a win, because I believe I'm right in saying, and again I'm sure somebody out there will tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've actually ever won our last match of the season.
Oh, you said this yesterday.
Yes, Joseph.
The special one says Smith would be a shoe-in for 6 if we stayed in the National League.
Yeah, I think I've been led to believe by a very reliable source that negotiations have already started on that one. So, I'm fairly confident that Jack will be riding for us next year. So, yeah, what I will say about last night was some cracking racing. There really was some cracking racing, particularly when our captain, more of whom more later, Tom Perry was riding. He was, he took my breath away. I have to be honest, about halfway through I stopped writing the score down because it's fairly obvious what was going to happen. I just thought, I'm just going to enjoy the racing now. And I did. Adam Ellis got the track record. It took it off Zach in the last match of the season. He was in a class of his own, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to remember it now. It was 50.3 or something like that.
59, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. 59.3.
So well done, Adam Ellis. And it was. I hope we get to see him in a Brummie race jacket again. He certainly made all the right noises that he would love to come back if the situation's right. Obviously, he won't be riding National League next year. It's too good for the league. He's going to be in Premier League.
A good thing about him beating the track record, I mean, Zach will probably want to come back. I mean, he can't leave it with someone else holding the track record, can he?
Can you think of anybody beating him in the National League? 59.03, you was right. There you go. I can't see anybody beating that in the National League because he's just a cut above anybody else, wasn't it? Shame he didn't win the National League Riders' Championship. He should have done, but Rye House can be a law unto itself, unfortunately.
Second leg, what do you think?
I'm trying to find a way of putting a positive spin on it. I don't think realistically, there's no way we could go to Eastbourne and win. Nobody's done it this year, including Cladley, including us on other occasions. But this is Speedway. Anything can happen. You just never know. I would be very surprised if so. But I know for one certain fact is that the riders that turn out for us on that night, and we've no idea who that's going to be at this moment, they'll do the best they can, and that's been the big refreshing thing about this league. Nobody's tootling around the back not trying. Even when Harvey Banks was having his problems, he was trying. He just wasn't succeeding, but he was trying. Can you just put the other site back on for? Thank you. That's the one I'm after. Thank you. So Danny Ayres, I had to have a special word for him. He only scored 5 points, but my life did he try his socks off. And it was so heartbreaking on that one when he came off and he just went onto the centre grid and he just absolutely, he was devastated. He put his hand his head in his hands was what I'm trying to say, on the handlebars, and he was sort of banging himself, and I felt for him then, but you know what, he tried his hardest, and that's all that anybody can ask for. I mean, I think as far as the Gold Cup is concerned, which I think we should call the Consolation Cup, That's what I think we should call it. I think Eastbourne are going to beat Cradley. I think it will be Cradley because they've already got a lead at Kings Lynn. So I hope they enjoy their consolation cup. It just says a lot. I've had a few conversations with different Eastbourne fans who insist their track hasn't got a big home track advantage.
Wow, yes.
They absolutely insist on that. Well, they've won all the cups. That says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That says it all.
But can I just say, the only silverware that actually matters is the silverware that we've won.
It's always true. It's always true. And Eastbourne will be saying exactly the same thing, of course.
Exactly.
And actually, talking about the silverware, at some point today, hopefully, 'cause I'm just about to say this to Webby now, and he doesn't know I'm going to say it to him, he's going to shove a picture on our website, which has got a picture of me holding both trophies.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is a consolation prize for me after what happened. So, yeah, let's tell everybody what happened to me last week, okay? Do you think that's interesting?
Go on, then.
Last week... well, let's go back to the week before last week, because obviously last week we were being presented with the trophy. Now, I've waited 40 years to see that. 40 years. And Denise Drury, bless her, the week before said to me, OK, we want all the track staff to be there early because you're going to be part of the presentation because we consider you part of the team. I thought that was a fantastic thing to say, and I was absolutely ripped. And I was so looking forward to last week. So looking forward to last week. Then I got on the motorway, and then I usually come off on the M6 on the A38 down the Aston Expressway, and it had been closed off. And from that moment on, the track, it was absolutely... Well, to cut a long story short, I ended up nearly in Warsaw, had to come all the way back down, and I got back in time to see the end of the first heat, missed the presentation. 40 years! But they gave me the trophies last week, and I had some photos taken with me holding. Yesterday, I've got a photo of me holding them, which is in the Dropbox, by the way.
Oh,
so
right,
if you can
okay.
shove that up, that would be fantastic. So that was my little story. I think enough of that Jackanory. Let's have a listen to what the lads said last night at the end of season interviews.
Right then, first of all, let's grab a word with Adam Kirby. Adam, you're probably one of the riders who's probably glad that the season's coming to a close now. It's been a tough year for yourself.
Yeah, especially towards the end of the season. I just can't wait for it to finish now.
And who'd have thought, with all the crashes and incidents Adam's been involved in, that he would be the only ever-present Birmingham Brummie this season. Great effort from Adam Kirby, but at times you probably shouldn't have ridden, but have raced through the pain barrier at all times and given it everything you've got.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. And always give 110% to the Birmingham fans.
And people must remember as well the efforts that Adam put in over the winter. He placed himself on a strict regime. He was dedicated to his team place here at Birmingham, and he fully deserved the National League Champions medal that he got. A few thank yous to say, no doubt.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Birmingham fans and the promotion and basically all my sponsors and my family that stuck with me.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Adam Kirby. Next up, he's been guest for the last 5 or 6 meetings for the Birmingham Shortstop Brummies. Put your hands together, Jack Smith. Jack, you've really enjoyed your time with Birmingham, I know, and things seem to have been getting better and better, and you must have learnt a lot in these last few meetings.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm happy with tonight to get the 7 rides and just keep improving every time.
I was going to say, your gating certainly improved, and with gating like that, you're going to come a long way in the sport, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm happy with my gating. That's probably my strong point. Need to focus on riding in the dirt and getting quicker, but I'm happy with tonight.
And riding for Birmingham as a club, how have you found it?
Yeah, it's good. The fans are great, and I know most of the lads, so it's been good.
There we go then, Jack Smith. Next up, we'll have a word with the Birmingham Adder himself. It's Adam Ellis. Adam Ellis, superb at number 1 for the team this season, and a nice way to bow out here at Perry Bar.
Yeah, it always feels good to get a maximum, and you know, we've all had a pretty cool year. It's been great fun coming here every Wednesday, and yeah, I think that's what I was lacking last year. So it feels good to enjoy racing again, and you know, all the boys and the management and the fans have been awesome. So yeah, just if it wasn't for for everyone here, we wouldn't be back, so that's pretty cool.
Fair to say you're going to miss not being here next season then?
Definitely, it's if Birmingham were going up in the Premier League, I think I'd want to be the first one on the team sheet, so it's a shame, but it's been real good, it's been good fun, and hopefully later on in my career I can come back and win some more trophies.
Going to say you've played a massive part in what's been a really memorable year for everyone at the club, and now you go onto the bigger leagues, Premier League and Elite League, the options for next season in 2016.
Yeah, it's not a one-man team. Everyone played their part, and even from Alex Wilson and Harvey Banks at the start of the year, every point was vital. So it's definitely just not just me. It's everyone in the team that's got where we are today, and. Hopefully if Birmingham move up in the future, I can come back.
And you ready to party at the end of the season, in a few weeks?
Yeah, why not?
There we go, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Ellis. Next up, it's the skipper, Tom Perry. Tom, we've spoken before about what it meant to you to lift the title with the Heathens last year and to do it with the Birmingham Brummies this year, a tremendous role played as captain this season.
Yeah, it's been a really good season for us all. To win the league, first season back after the disaster happened to Birmingham last year. I'm absolutely over the moon to be captain and win the league. All the boys are brilliant all year. Adam hit the nail on the head really. Talking about Harvey and Alex, down to every single rider. So it's been a brilliant year, and thanks to all you guys coming to watch every week. We've all loved it and appreciate it.
And obviously attention's Saturday still to get out of the way, and we know the boys will go there battling first of all.
Yeah, tonight's result didn't go the way we wanted it to, but it's only 4 points. You never know what will happen. We're all going there to win the meeting and win the gold trophy, so we're not going there with our heads down. We know what we want to do.
And then attentions will quickly turn to the 2016 season as well. Still rules and regulations to be sorted. We know your situation, your contract lies with Cradley, but in an ideal world, what would you like to do in 2016?
Well, the plan, I've already spoke to Graham. I want to be captain of Birmingham again next year. That's what I want to do. So, sorry, Nige. But that's the plan.
So there you go, you heard it here first. If things allow, Tom Perry will be back here in 2016, fingers crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, Tom Perry. And I think it's only right that the last word this evening goes to the man who made this season possible. Put your hands together for Tony Mole. Tony, when you made the decision to bring the club back, you probably couldn't have dreamt how well the season would have gone.
No, I didn't expect that we'd win in the league, not at the first effort anyway, and it's really invigorating to be top of the National League. This is not just a development league, it's a professional league. We approach the whole team building professionally, we run the show professionally, and I hope you've enjoyed what we've put before you this season.
I was going to say it's been one big group effort, and what a group of riders to work with this season as well.
Yes, it was disappointing. We've only got 4 riders out here. Plainly tonight we missed Zach and Sam, and we were denied the use of Jack Parkinson Blackburn under the 8-day rule. All of that would have helped to finish the season off with a home win, I think. But it wasn't to be. It was a bridge too far. But the lads did their best, and I hope you'll support them over at Eastbourne on Saturday night.
Eastbourne, as you mentioned, you'll be attending the National League AGM in a few weeks' time as well, but obviously a lot of people want to know what the future holds for Birmingham Brummies Speedway in 2016.
Well, I'll be attending the AGM as BSPA President, and I'll be attending the National League AGM towards the end of November, when I believe there will be more teams in the league, so there'll be more to put before you next season. And we'll look forward to seeing you next season. Present practice day is set for 9th March, and the first match is set for 16th of March. We don't know our opponents yet, but hopefully it will be the Cradley Heathens, but if not, it'll be somebody else.
There we go then, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Mole. The riders are going to come down to the front, so if you hang around, they'll be free to grab a quick word, shake hands, have a picture or whatever they want to do. One last time, Perry Bar 2015, give us a B, give us an R, give us a U.
You just started to cringe then. We had the Brummy War
Yes.
cry.
Yes. Yes.
I really have to take you to an away match so you can experience that.
I should look forward to that.
So obviously the and Matt, we haven't forgot you there, mate. We will come to you in a moment. Obviously, the biggest,
That's all right.
the big talking point was Tom Perry's saying he wants to be captain of Birmingham next year, and he's already told Graham Drury that. Because of course he's a Cradley asset, and there's been a few arguments, shall we say, on the BSF this week between a few Brummie fans and a few Cradley fans about where Tom Perry is going to end up, and I just stated on it, Tom Perry will go where he wants to go, and so I'm guessing that will be at Birmingham. Obviously that depends very much on averages and so on, but yeah, so all good stuff. So right, hello Matt, how are you doing, chum?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Okay, so we've got Matt on Skype, so hopefully everybody can hear you okay. We touched on it earlier, but I'm guessing you probably would like to say a little bit about it. Ty Woffington, double world champion.
Fantastic, isn't it? Yeah, well deserved. I think in a sense, when he won it last year, in 2013, there was some element of being in the right place at the right time. But I think all the way through the season, he's been the best rider. And to be honest, at the moment, I mean, he hasn't even officially been crowned world champion yet. But I would put him already as the red hot favourite to win it next year as well.
I don't suppose we know what the full lineup will be for next year, do we? But
well, the thing is, I mean, if you look at his season, his two closest rivals, one's 45 and the other one's 37. So, and obviously, it looks like, obviously we're keeping our fingers crossed that Darcy Ward will be able to recover. Obviously, from his own life point of view, never mind the speedway, but and really, for me at the moment, you have to say until some of these young poles start to make that next step through, I think he's going to be fairly untroubled in the JPs. I think he's got it bang on at the moment.
Yeah. Do you think there's any danger of him trying to cash in again like he did last time and perhaps do more leagues next year? You obviously know what I'm saying there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I don't think there's many Wolves fans who would be unhappy to see Ty back at Monmore Green next season, given the season that we've had. I think a lot of things would have to change for that to happen. Certainly the schedule and things like that.
Yeah.
And obviously it would be good to have a British world champion riding in the British Elite League, or whatever league it is if it isn't in the Elite League. But I think that's a debate for we'll probably have later in the year after the AGM. But on the flip side, Ty's coped with that in the British League this season, so why change it?
Do you think the thing that I've noticed been lacking a little bit is there hasn't been a great deal of publicity in the British press, has there, about we've got a double world champion, for goodness sake?
Well, that's right. I mean, I think only the third British riders to win the World Championship twice after Fred Williams and Peter Craven, so that's something that should be being shouted out about, and there hasn't been as much coverage as there was 2 years ago. I don't necessarily think that's not down to him not riding in this country, because the Elite League speeder doesn't get that much coverage in this country anyway. So
it shouldn't make a difference anyway, should it? It's world champion.
It should make a difference. It should make a difference, certainly, and it's unfortunate, because I think it would have been nice for Ty to have had a little bit more publicity than he has this time around.
It'd be nice for Speedway to have a little bit more publicity at the end of the day. Do you think the BSPA need to take a sort of bow as part of the problem there? Or, I mean, obviously he doesn't ride for in British Speedway, so I don't know. Do they have a responsibility to publicise that a bit more?
I think, to be fair to the BSBA members, I think most of them are too busy trying to survive to worry about Ty winning the World Championship. So that's my view on it anyway. So
there's a good comment actually on. I don't know if you can see that.
I can. Yeah. The problem with Ty is he's a British double champion who you can't go and see live, is what the special ones put on.
Yeah.
It is a shame. Yeah, there's no doubt about that because at the end of the day, you want to see the very best riding at your local track.
Well, I'd actually disagree with it actually because. Okay, if you look at Formula One, we're going to have, by all things being equal, a double British Formula One world champion in Lewis Hamilton. Can't get to see him live, well, except for the once, which is at the British Grand Prix, which is exactly what you can do with Ty, of course. So what's the difference?
Well, I think the difference is obviously that obviously in Formula One they don't have leagues, so I can understand that argument, and but. So that's it.
Brommy Time Lord says, "Get Ty on a question of sport." Absolutely.
Been a long time since there was a speed rod on a question of sport. I think Jason Crump was the last one.
Yeah.
Was
it?
One,
yeah. So
and how far back are we going now?
2006, I think
really?
That was. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, 2006. Yes, it was. So
I'm sort of surprised myself there.
Yeah, well done. So you do get some things right.
I do. I have to ask you this question because I do every week. I already know the answer, but has anything been happening in Wolverhampton ways recently?
Well, the only thing that's notable that's really happened, of course, there's one more meeting, and that's the Olympic on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The only other notable thing that's happened really was the presentation evening being cancelled. That announcement was made a few weeks ago. With Peter Adams and Chris Van Straten saying that they weren't in the mood for a presentation evening given the season that the club have had.
And did they ask the fans?
Well,
that was my first thought, yeah.
This is the interesting one for me because I would be interested to see what the ticket sales were for that, because if there were poor ticket sales then maybe you could understand them pulling the plug.
You could understand why there would be poor ticket sales.
Let's be honest, we've had poor seasons in the past. We've always had a presentation evening. I mean, this has been a particularly bad season, to be honest. Not in terms of results, but in terms of the quality of the action as well. And reading through the statements, I mean, as the promotion have said, in the past there's always been circumstances which has led to the performance of the team being poor, but this time there's no excuses. It's down to the promotion.
Interesting. So okay, we've got. I'm going to throw this question out to everybody on the shout box and everybody in here, and to you as well, Matt. Obviously, we have the AGM coming up for the Premier League and the Elite League, and then obviously the National League a little bit later than that. First question is: do you think the thing that we've been thinking might happen for a few seasons now, do you think it's finally going to happen? One big league?
No, can't see it. I think I've said this before. I think the only way that would happen is if it was on the Premier League's terms, because the last time the leagues merged, the lower league clubs got really stitched up, to be honest.
Yes.
I don't think they would allow for that to happen again, and I don't think there's going to be many Elite League promotions who are going to be keen to race at Premier League at the Premier League's terms.
Yeah.
So I don't think it will happen, to be honest. I'd be very, very surprised. I think that would be a last resort, in fairness. I mean, both leagues have got problems. I mean, I'm pleased that people are finally starting to see that the Premier League isn't the great white hope that everybody says it is, because there are a lot of problems in the Premier League. A number of clubs that are struggling financially, struggling for crowds. And yeah, I think at the moment, really, the National League is the place to be.
I think it is, isn't it? That's where it seems to be where at least you can. It's a better business model where you can actually perhaps make some money. That the pricing structure is at a level that people can afford and so on. I think Sif's got something to say.
Yeah, the special one says, gut feeling is they'll bury their heads in the sand as usual, sticking plaster over the gaping wound.
As they do every year.
Well, yeah, maybe so. I do feel for them a little bit because it is, what do we do? Damned if we do, we damned if we don't. But it just needs sorting, doesn't it?
You should be putting your question to Sky Sports.
If I had access to Sky Sports, I would put that question to them. Yeah.
The only concern really that I would have with the potential expanding of the National League is, are there going to be enough riders to go around if they do that?
Well, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because they might
think there's going to be
do what they did last year, which is leave the points limit quite low again to be able to do that, so that you got 3-point riders coming in.
I think there's definitely going to be more clubs in the league next year.
I think.
I've been saying for a few weeks. It wouldn't surprise me if Bellevue had a team in the National League next season, because they're going to want to have more use of the new stadium. So, and one of the ideas of having that stadium is to develop more British riders.
Yes.
I mean, they did have a lower league side several years ago, didn't they? I think it was the Colts in the 70s. So
yeah, they did. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and we got something else on the shout box. Go on then, Joseph.
Special one says 3 leagues is the answer: North, South to Premier League standard, and National League as it is now, training for some and for others who can't afford Premier League.
Well, so the problem that I see is, how the hell do you do it? How do you bring the elite league clubs down and the Premier League clubs up so the standard's the same? It's a tightrope.
It's impossible.
It's not.
It's a tightrope.
Yeah. I've noticed there's been one particular subject that we've had every single season since 2007, and that is, how can we improve things?
Well, there's
nothing,
isn't it?
Well, yeah, it has been.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that
every season, isn't it?
There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve things.
We're all looking for this utopia that's never going to happen.
At the end of the day, there's only one way to improve it all. Well, it's a two-pronged thing, really, which is get more people through the turnstiles and invest the flipping money in the sport.
But how is it it's only the fans can see these improvements and not those old blokes up there?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer. Although I do think people are gravitating downwards, aren't they? They're gravitating down to the Premier League and gravitating down to the National League, and I think that's what's going to sort it out eventually. Is that people finding the level where that I mean, the crowds at Birmingham this year have been, I wouldn't say phenomenal, because that doesn't happen, but they've been they've been better than there was in the Elite League, and they've been sustainable as far as the club's concerned, money wise. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Really.
Well, the thing is, if you think back to the Premier League years, were the crowds any better than they've been for the National League?
I think in 2007, yeah. I think I've said this before. I think the thing that killed Birmingham Speedway, in a way, was the 2008 season. And there's two things about that. I spoke about this before, whereby we all got used to the riders that we had in 2007, and the kids that were there, my kids were the same, had their favourite riders. And you become attached to them, and you think, wow, looking forward to next year, and then they're not there. We had 2 riders, I think, from the first season to the second season that came over, and that loses the feeling of supporting your team. It loses that connectivity, that emotionality that you need with the team. And my oldest son didn't come back because Ben Powell didn't come back. Thank God he didn't. That's what happened in the end. But so that, and then also the injuries that we got in 2008. Because the other thing about 2008 is we all started the season thinking we're going to win this league. Look at the team. We've got a phenomenal team. Adam Roynan still says it was the best team he'd ever rode in. But 13 injuries in a season tells its own story, doesn't it? So there you go. Yes, Joseph. Sorry.
Where is it now? Stan says rider allocation with BSPA Speedway Revolution.
With a BSPA Speedway Revolution. Rider, I mean, people have spoke about rider allocation before. The problem with that, as we found out to our cost, is it's open to abuse. And for me, the biggest problem that Speedway's got, and again, this is something I've banged on about before, isn't the fact that Poole can get away with doing something, or Glasgow can get away with doing something, or Eastbourne can get away with doing something like with this new rider that wasn't available to ride in the National League because he hadn't got the right, and then all of a sudden was when they wanted him. That isn't the problem. The problem is that you get the perception, because they might have done something wrong, they might not have done something wrong. The problem is that there is a perception in fans' minds that things are done wrong. There is that lack of credibility, if you like. Whether it doesn't matter whether it's real or whether it's not. If you perceive it, it drives people away, and it's a problem that athletics, for instance, have had to address. The IOC are having to address because of the drugs in the sport and the perception that actually the IOC aren't doing what they need to do, and they've addressed that by making an independent drugs testing, rather than it being part of the IOC. It is now independent, and that's how. So that's how they're doing it. Now, Stan said so Speedway is bent, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying it can be perceived as being bent, and that's just as damaging as whether it is or whether it isn't. And they need an independent body. We've all said this. No, I'm not saying anything new here. It needs an independent body to be able to govern the sport,
but not chaired by Sepp Blatter.
Preferably not.
Well, obviously not.
Apparently he's looking for a job. Excuse me. So that's the big problem with Speedway. It's the perception. I don't know whether it's bent or whether it isn't. But you sometimes, as a fan, something happens and you think, well, that can't be right. Whereas if it's done independently, at least you know that that's not somebody that's got a vested interest in a particular club that's making that decision, and that's the problem. It always has been the problem. So, what would you say, Matt?
Well, I think with the rider allocation, I mean, that was tried years ago, wasn't it? And I mean, as you say, it was open to abuse, but then again, so is the current system. That's open to abuse as well.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, I've always been in favour of rider grading to build teams rather than using averages. And I know that several promoters are interested in it as well, but I think this question was posed at the Wolves Talking last season, and Peter Adams and Chris Van Strand both said they're in favour of it, but at the moment there aren't enough riders to make it workable. Right. Which, you know, they're trying to remedy that obviously now with the fast track system. And of course they have tried grading before. I think it was 2004, and that was probably the last, for me, genuine top class elite league where every team had at least 2 or 3 top class riders in it, and we had some great racing that season. But they got rid of it after one season, which was disappointing. But yeah, I think with because so many teams have been accused of fiddling the rules before and rearranging the rule book to suit their needs, the perception's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. I would say Poole have been criticised in the past, but I think this season it's fair to say they did win it fair and square. Sure. I mean, it was a fantastic final against Bellevue.
Just come on to that. It was a brilliant final, wasn't it? And quite refreshing to see Bellevue in the final as well. You know, because I
have to say as well. I mean, it was a fantastic crowd that they got the first leg.
Right.
Obviously, it was always going to be a big crowd anyway, with it being the last meeting there. And you know, Bellevue have had a reputation over recent years of being a bit of a joke club.
That's another question, of course. Is it going to
be? For me,
go on. Sorry.
They lost. Sorry, they lost the league title, but I think they've won a bit of pride back now. I think because Bellevue is a big club. It's a great club. It's got a great heritage. It is for me. It is the most iconic Speedway club in the country. There's no doubt about that. Everything about Bellevue with its history, but in recent years they've not been particularly successful. It's to be hoped getting to the final this season and then now moving into the new stadium for next season, it could be the start of something good for Bellevue again.
Yeah, will they be in the stadium next year? Is it going to be ready in time? I mean, I'm hearing all sorts of different opinions on that.
I think it will be ready. I think it will be ready. I mean, I've seen pictures in today, and they're saying that they think the track will be completed by the end of November. Obviously, they're going to be keeping the fingers crossed that the winter weather, as they can get cracking on with building the facility. I'm a little bit more concerned about Swindon, to be honest, than I am with Bellevue.
Okay, Joseph's just belled in again, so we got some more comments.
Special one says, if everyone moves down, then Paul and Swindon will have no one to play with in the Elite League. And then Pub Landlord says, Paul can just go play with themselves.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because they are the two teams probably that you would say, yeah, next year they're going to be there and thereabouts. It's always going to be like that. But now with Bellevue joining in as well, I think they wouldn't want to go down either with the new situation with the new stadium. So I think it's not as cut and dried as just Paul and Swindon now. So,
to be honest, I mean, the Swindon thing. I mean, I think most Swindon fans would be happy if they just got the tapes for next year's season, because I think there's a lot of things seem to be not right with this new stadium that's been planned at Swindon.
Yeah, there's a lot of doubts, isn't there?
As far as I'm aware, they haven't even started doing any work on it yet. So,
no.
and they've already said they're not going to be at the Abbey Stadium next season because it's going to be gone. So,
it's worrying times for the Elite League as well, because you've got Swindon. Are they going to be there? Are they not going to be there? You've got Coventry. They've only got another year with their track. There's been doubts voiced about Lakeside. And their track. There was another track as well that I can't remember who it was now, but
Berwick.
Yeah. So I mean, but for Elite League, I mean, if they lose 3 clubs, which is a possibility, they can't run an Elite League, can they? They'd need clubs coming. And please don't ask us again, guys.
There's was being hinting at the possibility of Kent going up into the Elite League, because obviously now they've got the full planning permission for their stadium down at Central Park. So that's a possibility. I did see somewhere that possibly Rye House would consider moving up because they were going to be taken over. So I'm not so sure. I'm a bit sceptical as to whether Leicester will be Elite League as well next season, because I think their crowds have dropped quite alarmingly in the last 18 months or so.
They've got a big problem of getting a decent number one that will ride on a Saturday. And Jason Doyle already said that he won't. So.
What was the crowd last night, by the way?
It was a pretty decent crowd, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a fairly decent crowd. Was you there last night, by the way, Matt?
Yes, I was there. I mean, obviously it would have been nice if Birmingham had won the meeting, but I thought it was a tremendous meeting. I thought we saw some really, really good racing last night.
Great racing, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly from Tom Perry and Adam Ellis, of course. Yes, Joseph?
Stan said, would Speedway team supporters pay to watch their club without European riders in the UK, only home and Commonwealth?
Well, we've done it at Birmingham this year, so I think the answer's a resounding yes on that one.
I think some clubs would. I think there's other clubs that probably wouldn't.
You're thinking of all.
To be honest, I think. Well, the one I'm thinking of particularly is Lakeside.
Right.
In fairness, because Lakeside are one of these clubs. I think if they closed down, I think 90% of their fans would just stop going. They wouldn't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because Lakeside do have notoriously one-eyed fans. A bit like Cradley, I think so.
That sort of wasn't the question, though. The question was about whether supporters would go to a club basically with just UK and home riders in there and maybe Commonwealth riders. And I think we have at Birmingham this year, so yeah. Although what happened last year might have played a part in that, but we certainly need to have more British riders coming through. It makes You know, I'd like to talk about that actually. Do you feel that there is actually at this moment in time a much bigger influx of British riders starting to come through?
I would have to say yes. I think I've still got one or two doubts about the fast track system because I think it should be one fast track rider rather than two personally. Some of them obviously have gone in probably not going to make the grade. Some of them, the likes of Carl Newman, Jason Garrity, the likes of Carl Newman, Jason Garrity, they were always going to make the grade anyway, I think. So, as I say, I mean, I think the one thing that concerns me a bit really with some of the fast track reserves is that their rides are still protected. Although, from what I gather, that won't be the case next season. And the ones that have done it for 2 years, they can then move into the main body of the team.
Right. Do you think there might be a tweaking of that where it may be only one fast track rider per team? Because I think that would be better, to be honest.
I think it probably will stay at two, to be honest, but I would agree with you. I think it should be one.
I also think the Premier League should be joining in with it as well.
Well, I think most people in the elite, they think the Premier League should, but, you know, it's Premier League just clearly don't seem to want to know.
Yeah, which
is a shame.
This is where the Premier League has gone wrong, isn't it? Really, they're not bringing riders through. Yes, Joseph?
Brummy Time Law says, a few years ago, Olsen said we should close the borders and build up some home talent.
It's all very well for him to say that, but we can't do that. It's against European rules and laws, so, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, something similar has been said about football, I think so. Yeah.
Well, I agree with that, but in a sense, Ollie Olsen's probably got a point. As daft as it sounds, and it's not going to happen.
Absolutely, he's got a point. It would be great if we could do it, but that's sort of what the National League's done in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Too many foreign riders in the Premier League, I think.
Far too many foreign riders.
Yeah, absolutely. It's far too many average foreign riders, I think, is the... Doesn't happen in Poland, does it? It doesn't happen in the other countries. They don't have average riders, which is why they don't have British riders, because they're pretty much all average at the moment. But yeah. Well, so okay. My question to everybody then: wow, I've just seen the time.
7 minutes.
If you could change one rule at the BSPA meeting, I'm putting you on the spot here. What would you change?
Only one.
And this is to those on Shoutbox as well. Yeah, if you was given a sort of Willy Wonka card, you can change one rule. What would it be? One rule to rule them all. Mixing all my metaphors tonight.
They shall not pass. No.
So, Matt, I'm going to put you on. Have you got anything in mind?
Yes.
He's thinking really hard.
I've always said, limit the number of foreign riders in the Premier League.
Okay, so you have
no foreign riders at all in the National League, because that's not what the National League's for.
Yeah.
And limit the number of foreign riders, maybe two per club in the Premier League.
Would there be enough riders to go around? British riders?
Well,
there would have to be.
Well, they'd have to drop the points limit, I think, because there would be quite a few riders who would be tail enders, but I think for the long-term development of British riders to try and get British Speedway back on the world scene again, I think it would have to be done. It's probably a necessity, in fairness, rather than something they'd want to do.
We've got one on the shout box, haven't we, Joseph?
Yeah, the special one says replacing someone who touches the tapes with a reserve should be 15 metres, no question.
I agree with that. If you touch the tapes,
yeah,
that's it. They shouldn't be able to, because you've seen it. We've all seen it, haven't we? Where there's a reserve going really, really well, and a second string that hasn't. He touches the tapes. You put your reserve in. He comes out and wins the race. It counts as a ride as well. Yes, Joseph.
Something's very interesting has just happened in the shout box. Brummy Time Lord says get rid of tactical ride for double points. Bring back tactical sub.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is the rule that I would change, not exactly in the way that Brummy Time Lord. I'm going to get long-winded now. Sorry. I don't like the double points. Okay, I really don't like it. It makes no sense to me that one meeting can have more points available than another meeting. But however, my gripe isn't so much that as that the stated aim, and you always hear it all the time, for the tactical sub or the double points or whatever it is this year, next year or the year after, is to make matches closer. And I'm sorry. The way to make matches closer is have more evenly matched teams, and if you don't pick a good enough team, that's tough. But there is room for a tactical element with Speedway, and it should be this. The tactical ride or the double points or whatever it turns out that you go with should only be available to the away side, never to the home side. And it's the reasoning for it isn't to make matches close, but to combat home advantage. It's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. It's not Mickey Mouse. It's reasonable to say, yes, Speedway's got a bigger home advantage than football or whatever, So we put a rule in place to help combat that. That is perfectly reasonable for me.
I actually think that the majority of the promoters of the BSPA would love to get rid of the tactical ride rule. But I think, unfortunately, they're sort of guided by what Sky wants, and Sky want it in. And of course, they're bound by this.
Not in the Premier League, they're not, and not in the National League, they're not.
No, they're not. But it's unfortunately, it does seem to be a case of Sky calling the shots, which is sad.
Yeah, well, it is. But maybe if they saw some proper meetings where it did, I don't know. But I certainly think we've gone our own way in the National League this year, as far as. And thank God we did, by the way. And I've got a prediction to make, actually. As far as this business about if you win the league, you win the league, as opposed to playoffs, which we've done in the National League this year. And let's be honest about it, if I hadn't, we wouldn't have won the league this year, because we didn't win the Gold Cup, which would have been the playoffs. My prediction is that one of the teams in the National League will come into the AGM and say, right, we've got to change that. We want to have playoffs back. And the rest of the teams, with the possible exception of Rye House, will say, you're on your bike, we're not doing that. Can you guess which team I think will be doing that?
Eastbourne?
Correct. Of course, their fans keep telling me that they haven't got a home advantage, but yet they've won all the cups.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt if the season had been a few weeks longer, I think Eastbourne probably would have nicked the league.
By the end of the season, they had a great team, didn't they? With Daniel.
To be honest, at the moment they are the best team in the league by a country mile.
Yeah.
I mean, Birmingham did won the league in April, May. For me.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But do you not agree that actually we're almost handing we're certainly giving them a big advantage in the league if we go to playoff system?
Yeah, it's a massive advantage. I don't care what any Eastbourne fan says. There's a massive advantage.
Sure, absolutely.
Being able to ride at Darlington every week. And I think Cradley have the same thing riding at Mumma Green.
Yeah. Josie,
I think a lot of teams were psyched out by going there.
Yeah. Yes, Joseph?
Going back to the question you asked earlier, Brummy Time Lord says cheap beer and food at all Speedway venues.
I'll go with that one. Yeah, fair enough.
I've seen how much Brummy Time Lord drinks. That's probably not a good idea. Right, I cannot believe we're up to time. I said at the beginning of the show this might be the last.
We may have a new one.
We may have another one. We might. It depends on what happens on the AGM as well. Because if there's lots of stuff to report from the AGM, then we'll come back.
Yeah, sure.
We'll come back here. Speedway Tavern will be at the riders' presentation evening. So if we can get some interviews at that, we will. And obviously we'll broadcast them as and when. But in the meantime, have a great close season, everybody. Wow, what a season we've had. Let's do it again next year. See you all soon. Take care.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Well, Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What you need to know. Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Webby, GA, and Matt are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Come and have your say.